evening. For more than a century, England and France have bitterly disputed the ownership of the provinces of Normandy, Anjou, and Aquitaine. In every major war of this century, the English have bested the French at Sluys, at Crécy, and today at Poitiers, where the toll was again heavy for the French. 10,000 soldiers lost, 2,000 captured, King John of France taken prisoner. Richard of Essex has a report from the front lines.
The Black Prince wasn't eager to fight. His army was after plunder more than territory, and he and his men were outnumbered more than 3 to 1. But before he could escape, he was overtaken by King John and the French cavalry. The English dug in on the top of a hill and waited. Cardinal Talleyrand, you're the Pope's legate to King John. How do you see the situation?
I begged King John and Prince Edward to join together against the Turks. All my talk was useless. The spirit of the Crusaders, holy souls marching out together against a common enemy, all that's gone. Now it's king, the English against French. That sort of thinking leads to disaster.
I wasn't worried. You see, this weapon here is an honest English longbow. And 100 paces it'll zip an arrow through any kind of armor ever made. It's like a sharp knife cutting through good English cheese.
Commander of the English forces is Prince Edward, the Black Prince, who also fought at Crécy. What are the plans for your prisoners?
The French prisoners will be going home as soon as their ransoms have been paid. King John and his sons will be joining me in the trip to England. An emissary has already been sent to Paris to work out ransom negotiations. They should be home within the year.
The Black Prince is publicly cordial to the French, but sources close to the Prince say in private he believes their army lost because of its antiquated concepts of chivalry and social ranks. The English, by contrast, have a mercenary army in which knights, bowmen, and foot soldiers of all ranks work together as a fighting force. A French woman I interviewed earlier summed it up well.
Fools don't learn from the past. 10 years ago, my father was with the French army. He was trampled to death in a nobleman's rush up that hill. Noblemen believe that chivalry and high birth guarantee victory. I pray God will forgive them. I cannot.
Richard of Essex for EBC News, surrounded by the dead at Poitiers.
The mercenary of Hugh the Iron struck again today in the tiny village of Lèche, France. The town was looted, the people butchered, and the buildings put to the torch. Hugh the Iron and other unemployed mercenaries have become a major problem throughout much of Europe. Legendary explorer and trader Marco Polo died today in Florence, Italy at the age of 70. Polo, his father, and uncle were among the first traders to see China in the fabled court of Mongol Emperor Kublai Khan. In China, the rebel forces of Chu Yuan-Chang have attacked the Mongol capital of Beijing. Reports filtering in from the city indicate that they met only half-hearted resistance. Observers believe the rebels will conquer the Chinese lands of the Mongol Empire, but that the Mongols will still continue to hold much of the rest of Asia.
Doctors flee, and millions die in Europe.
Archers have developed a unique word to describe the common English short bow. Underwhelming. Now the new English longbow, that's better. The bow that turned the tide at Poitiers, yours at half its normal price. Studbrook & Sons, weaponers to the king.
The Black Plague continues to ravage much of the world. Reports from Paris indicate that many thousands of that city's population have been lost to the silent killer over the past 4 years. Brought from the east by Venetian sailors, the plague has now claimed 1/3 of the people in Europe. In the German empire city of Erfurt, survivors dug 11 mass graves for 12,000 people. For a special report on the plague's death toll, here's Marco of Padua in Tortona.
Robert, another 400 people died today, and 400 more will die tomorrow, including most of the people in this room. Doctors, always in short supply, have been running away into the hills. Brother Francisco, can you offer any hope?
What would you have me say? All of us believe that this is the end of the world. What else could it be? The evil one is all around us. We see his image in the faces of the dead. Fathers abandon children. Sons throw their mothers into the streets at the first call. The world we know has vanished.
Doctor, Do you have any idea what causes this plague?
We doctors know nothing about this disease. I've tried hundreds of cures, enemas, slicing off the boils, bland diet. I've even sent people to the public latrine in the hopes that the vile smell would ward off the disease. But nothing works. The people just die. Can you imagine what that's like for a doctor?
Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Perhaps the worst result of the plague is the effect it has on children. Here in this village outside London, unscrupulous peddlers sold flower bouquets, which, they said, would protect the buyers from the plague. People everywhere were walking around with flowers around their necks. Most of them are now dead. And all around London, children are singing a new song about the deadly hoax. Only a children's game? Perhaps. But the horror it reflects is very real. These people of Autun aren't dancing because they are happy, but because they're frightened. Plague has struck every village except theirs. The elders say that's because the people here are happier than their neighbors were, and that somehow keeps the plague away. So day and night, people dance and sing and play loud instruments. What will happen if they stop? No one here wants to find out. Marco of Padua for ABC News.